Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any of our platforms. Reach out to me directly for pricing. I am tmosso@thewatchbox.com. Today's watch was the culmination of a 3-year trek. In 2013, Omega launched the landmark Speedmaster Moonwatch Dark Side of the Moon and immediately had a waitlist, the kind previously the domain of Rolex. It happened again in 2015 with the gray side of the moon, but for 2016, the Side of the Moon family became a franchise, and we gained several variants, of which this one, the Speedmaster Moonwatch Dark Side of the Moon Black, was the most committed. This watch is all black, none more black. And as you can see, it is the classical combination of the 44.25mm dark side case in black ceramic with the caliber 9300 movement, but we have an all blacked out ceramic dial to match. So yes, 44.25mm in diameter. This watch measures 16.7mm thick. It's 50mm lug-to-lug on the nose with a 21mm spacing between the lugs. When you throw it on my wrist, which is 16 centimeters in circumference, it fills up my wrist, but being all ceramic and sapphire, it's a very, very light watch. So I could wear this. I'm not sure you could wear it on a much smaller wrist, maybe 15 centimeters. I'll let you look down the barrel and make your own decision there. And then also over the top where it's a bit exaggerated because I'm pulling the strap so tight to hold it in place. But it's not a thin watch, and particularly given the shape of the bezel, it will get hung up on very tight wrist sleeves. The strap is a composite piece with black textile and then black leather. So you have both with a red contrasting stitch on the bottom. You can see that there's a rubber gusset that's sewn in to prevent the pin buckle from gouging the strap for longer life. I like to see that. Impressively, the buckle, externally at least, is made of satinated and polished ceramic. Apart from the nuance of the double finished ceramic, a testament to Omega's material technology and finishing prowess, there's the fact that the buckle itself is ceramic in the first place. A lot of watches will give you black ceramic watches and then they will cop out with a black coated titanium buckle or steel buckle. Here you get ceramic, so the part of the watch that's most likely to grind against your desk is just as scratch resistant as the rest of the watch. Twin trigger release, so it can't pop open accidentally. You have to press both of them simultaneously. And then there is a crimping system and 2 lobes to hold the strap down. So once it's in, notice the lobes and twin pins for absolute security. You clamp it down, you're sized. Now there's no need for strap minders or any excess length visible externally, so it's a very clever buckle right there. The case will be well known. It's the exact same case you'll find on the dark side, and it's the same case design with lyre-style lugs we've known since the early 60s on Speedmasters and Seamasters. So lyre-style lugs mean we have inward and outward inflections, double bevels, if you will, with the inward ones satinated, the outward ones polished. They thin out a bit across the case flank, but it's polished all the way across from end to end. With longitudinal satin across the case, we have a shear guard profile for the chronograph pushers and the crown to make them less susceptible to impact and shearing. The underside of the bezel is polished. The top side of the bezel is satinated, and again, getting this differential finish on ultra-hard, scratch-resistant ceramic is not easy. Very impressive by Omega. Dramatically domed, cambered, and boxed sapphire, not a cheap piece to make. It's there to evoke the classical Moonwatch plexiglass. Now, we'll do a lume shot here, but don't get your hopes up. This is the black version of Super Luminova, and as you could see, even with the camera in auto detect, it's very difficult to sufficiently capture the glow of this rather dim variant of Luminova, but it's there. The dial is also made of black ceramic. You can actually see above the hands zirconium oxide. That is the chemical formula for ceramic. You'll also note that the chronograph is tri-register. Despite a twin-register dial, we have a stacked mono counter at 3 o'clock with hours and minutes coaxial, and they really did go all the way, blackening the hands, blackening all of the printing of the dial, blackening the date disc and the printing on the disc. The tachometer allows you to use the chronograph to gauge the speed of an object. I always like to use the example of a car over a kilometer because it's very intuitive. And then you can see we have dished registers for running seconds and then chronograph functions, all applique polished, but again, blackened indices, and 2 setting modes. One allows you to set the hour hand independently while the chrono keeps running and the watch keeps ticking. The other mode, you pull the crown out all the way, now it's in hacking or stop seconds mode, so you can set the watch precisely against a reference time. The chronograph uses a vertical clutch, which means there's no additional play in the engagement mechanism, unlike a lateral clutch. So when you start this chrono, there is no extraneous movement or hopping or jumping. Also, if you like, you can leave the chrono running full time with no additional hazard wear or tear to the watch. That's one of the advantages of the vertical clutch system. We also have, visible through a skeletonized bridge, the column wheel, which makes for a nice crisp actuation. All this is 50 meters water resistant with a press down crown. You can see the movement has its own bubble-like sapphire on the back, so you can see it more easily. Bidirectional automatic winding with 2 barrels. It's got a 60-hour power reserve, beats away at 25,200 vibrations per hour, which is a beat rate specific to silicon hairsprings in the Swatch group. And yes, due to that hairspring, the balance staff, the balance, and the escapement materials, this is a highly anti-magnetic watch. All this pivots on 54 joules. It's got a full balance bridge and a free sprung balance for toughness against shock. It is a COSC certified Swiss chronometer, adjusted in 5 positions for exceptional accuracy. And you could just about see underneath the balance bridge, there's a second bridge for the coaxial escapement. This is the tri-level coaxial, a double impulse system with a direct and indirect impulse of the surfaces being impulsed. The idea here being you have tangential contact rather than the sliding contact of a conventional escapement, reducing friction, improving chronometry, extending power reserve, and reducing maintenance requirements. This was George Daniels' great innovation that was industrialized and made reliable by Omega in series production in the late 1990s. Now we have 2 barrels. They don't give you an exceptional power reserve. Here it's 60 hours, but they do flatten out the torque curve as it relates to the torque going to the escapement and being used to impulse the balance. So you have a very flat torque curve due to the twin phased mainsprings in series. So from maximum wind to minimum wind, you don't get a lot of fluctuation in rate or balance amplitude. One of the many, many advantages of this fine watch. Reach out to Team Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.